Welcome back, everybody. This is going to be the final of two parts in my lecture series on how to compute inverses of functions. If you haven't seen the first one, please go watch it now because it's going to be really important information for you to have for this one. Because in this video, we're actually going to go through the step-by-step process of how to compute an inverse if we know a function has one. Let's get started. Suppose that f of x is 2x minus 7. Find the inverse. Well, this is a straight line, so hopefully you can kind of mentally visualize that it passes the horizontal line test, and it's in fact one-to-one. Now, how do we compute an inverse? There is a step-by-step process to help us here. The first thing is to write y as f of x. So in our problem, I'm going to write y equals, 2x minus 7. Now remember, with the inverse relationship, on the inverse, my inputs are outputs and my outputs are inputs. So I want to exchange the roles of x and y. So everywhere I see a y, I'm going to write an x instead. And everywhere I see an x, I'm going to write a y instead. And again, that's because the roles of inputs and outputs are exchanged in the inverse. Now, I just need to resolve for y. So I would add the 7 over. And I get x plus 7 equals 2y. And now I divide by 2 to get y equals x plus 7 all over 2. The last step is to just replace y with f inverse of x. Now, if you're not sure if you've done this process correctly, there's a surefire way to make sure that you have done it properly, and that's to check your answer. Let me give us a little bit more room here. You should be able to take f inverse and plug in f of x and get back x, like we learned in the first video. So here I have input, which is 2x minus 7, plus 7 over 2. The 7's cancel, which leaves me with 2x over 2, and then the 2's cancel, which leaves me with x. Sure enough, we found the inverse correctly. Let's try another one. Go ahead and pause the video here to see if you can tackle this problem on your own. The answer that I found was -1 over x minus 1. The way I got that was using the same step-by-step process as before. Step 1, I wrote y as f of x. Step 2, I exchanged the order or the roles of x and y. Step 3, the meat of the problem, is I solved for y. The way I did that was I multiplied my y plus 3 over, and then I noticed that I need to get all of my terms with y onto one side. So I moved this 3 over to the right and this y over to the left and got this line. Then I could factor my y out and isolate it by dividing the other term over. And that gave me -1 over x minus 1. The last thing I needed to do was write f inverse of x to be y. In this video, we saw how to compute the inverse of a function. That's going to wrap it up for this series, and I'll catch y'all in the next one.